Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Vampire YGO here again with an updated Nekroz profile. It is still more or less the Incantation build, but more trying to get at least the Vanity's Ruler out. So I guess Vanity's Ruler Turbo. Going first is extremely consistent in getting out the Vanity's Ruler, and I mean you can just play through a decent amount of hand traps or negates / disruptions going first as well, which is really good. And then obviously virtual decks having the boost of extravagance definitely helps out a lot in this deck. It does make it a little bit more pricier, but it is definitely still an extremely fun deck to play in these times. And then again, if you go first and get out the ruler and then have some protection, it's very difficult for your opponent to get over that not being able to special summon. And then going second obviously is a little bit more difficult, but that's where you let your side deck game come in, and you have a few other things like some extra deck cards as well to try to get through it, I guess. So let's get right into it. We have the Incantation package. I lowered I'm pretty sure I had maybe 2 bookstones in the last profile I did maybe about 5 or 6 months ago. The Incantations are the ones, if you do not know, that activate in the hand by revealing either a ritual spell or ritual monster from your hand, depending on which one it is. They special summon themselves plus another incantation name from the deck, and then they also have a trigger effect from when they are special summoned. The effect goes off from the deck, and then they also have an effect that is you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck while they are on the field. So for Bookstone, it is you reveal the ritual spell, and then when this one you can eventually special summon, and then you can either do Pencil Plume. The ones you want to do are the Candle and the Talismandra, but these are the ones you want to see in your hand most, and this one is reveal a ritual monster. And then the backup effect for this one is when it's special summoned from the deck, you can get a ritual spell from your graveyard to your hand, and the same thing for this, but for monster. And the reason why you have the Pencil Plume too is just it's a little bit better to get the monsters than it is to get the spells for recursion of your monster resources. You have one of each, Candle and the Talismandra. They are pretty awesome. I mean, they're the best ones, and you can also get them out through the Chalice Slime as well if you get one out and then didn't have the opportunity to get the other. Usually one of the things you get with Preparation of Rites or one of your search cards is the Chalice Slime. It definitely boosts the combo. This one especially gets you your spells when it's special from in the deck, and this one gets you a ritual monster search. This one's slightly more important, I guess, depending on what you have in your opening hand. We run one Manju of the Thousand Hands. I know it's kind of controversial. A lot of people asked me in the last video why I wasn't running like 3 of these. I used to run 3, and then I did 2, and 2 is just so much as well. But you can, get this search as well if you draw the Vanity's Ruler and you still get the Cyber Angel effect off. You can always add this because it is also a fairy that is light. But you want to save the normal summon for the Vanity's Ruler if you have it. If you know you're not going to be able to get the Vanity's Ruler out, or it's an opportunity where you don't need to get it out, maybe going second or something, then this is definitely your card you want to use for your normal summon. But other than that, you want to save the normal summon for the Vanity's Ruler. And that one gets you obviously the ritual spell or monster from your deck to your hand when successfully normal summon. One Vanity's Ruler. I'm pretty sure I had 2 of this one back in the last profile as well, but again, you just don't want to see it in the hand, and this one is awesome. The difference between the other vanities is this one allows you to still special summon, but just your opponent cannot special summon, and 2500 attack is actually not bad at all. Extremely easy to get out. You're pretty much just going to just tribute the Incantations. And then last but not least, for the effect monsters, we have 2 Shirt. I was running 3 of these as well here, but running them at 2 is just a lot better. There's just not as important in the going first build when it comes to getting out the ruler. You don't really need to see this one. It's just good to get to add more resources if you use it as a ritual one, but usually you're going to go with the Kaleidoscope, and then your next play is going to go with the Cycle to get the Brionic from the grave, sacrificing the Cyber Angel. But this one is obviously Shirt, level 3. You can use it for any of the ritual summons for the Nekroz monsters. It makes up for the materials or the cost, and then when it's used, you can search a one warrior Nekroz monster from your deck to your hand. Usually you're going to go with Brionic maybe for a follow-up play, or the Colossalist, depending on what you already have, or what your options are. 2 Colossalus. This one is, you know, all the rituals have the duo effect where they have their their discard effect, and then they have their onboard effect there. This one is when you discard him, you get to add a ritual spell from Nekroz ritual spell from your deck to your hand. Definitely amazing. Usually, always one of the first ones you're going to want to search unless you already have it is Kaleidoscope, and then Unicorn is usually the first monster you're going to want to search if you do not have that one as well to get them going. So Brionic, Colossalus gets you Kaleidoscope. You'll have usually multiple other ways of getting the Unicorn to hand, and then you just start the combo off that way. And no matter what, you're going to get the Vanity's Rule on board at that point. Even if you have to tribute the Brionic, sometimes you'll have to do so, but averagely you'll at least end board will be Brionic, Ruler, Unicorn. Sometimes more with an extra incantation, or sometimes even you know, it's the Demandre or something, like, depending on what's going on. And then the other one is during either player's turn, you can target one face-up monster on the field. That was special summon from the extra deck, and then until the end of his turn, its attack becomes 0 and effects are negated, which is really good too. 23 defense, not bad. 1 Unicorn. It's obviously controversial right now as well for this one to come off of the list from the 1 to maybe 2 or 3. I'm not sure if the OCG has this one at 3, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. But yeah, I don't think it's doing as much of a difference here, but a lot of times the opponent can get over the Unicorn. The one you really want to protect is the Vanity's Ruler. Just 1. And that one just negates out the extra deck from your opponent's extra deck monsters cannot activate their effects. They're all just negated. It's a floating effect, kind of like Jinzo. You want the 3 Brionic. It's pretty much, I mean, if you know, remember from back in the day, this was a $140 card that settled after it was around pretty much 200. The Brionic was pretty much the most important monster in the deck. He's your combo starter. Discard him, get another Nekroz ritual monster, and then his other effect is amazing as well. When he's on board, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field that were special summoned from the extra deck, and then send them back into the deck. 2300 attack, level 6. Amazing artwork. Yeah, 1 Valk. I think I had 2 in the last profile as well of Valk, but again, you just don't want to see him right away. He's not the protection you typically want to go with. You want Trishula and you want the Saravis in hand to protect your monsters, but he's really great for protecting for battle. Sometimes you will overextend to the point where you will be able to get an extra card in hand where you can choose between maybe like an extra Brionic for the follow-up play, or you can choose the Valk if you already have the Trish and the Saravis, and you'll just basically have protection from pretty much everything at that point in time. 2900 attack, and then you can tribute up to 2 monsters on the field to draw the same number of monsters that you tributed from the field from his effects. 2900 attack. You have another fantastic piece for going second, the Trishula. Trishula's discard effect is you can, when one of your opponent's monsters or card effects targets one of your cards, you can discard this card, and your Nekroz monster cannot be targeted that turn. And then his onboard effect is pretty similar to Trish, except you do have to have, your opponent has to have at least the requirements on there, so you cannot activate him on turn 1 if they don't have anything on field or in the graveyard, because their opponent has to have at least 1 card on field, in hand, or graveyard to be able to activate all 3 of those effects there. Otherwise, it just does not go off for the banishing. 2700. I mean, obviously one of the coolest cards as well for the deck. I remember this card being around, you know, settling around $70 for the longest back when this deck was the thing to beat. But yeah, you want to hold him usually for turn 1 so you can have the protection from the targeting. It'll protect your Unicorn for the most part. This deck has also pretty bad issues with Nibiru as well, because you definitely hit that 5 summon, and if you get Nibiru, pretty much a bad day. 3 Incantation Chalice Slam. I still stick by this in most aspects, that you really want to run 3 of these in pretty much any ritual deck that you're trying to get out with. This one is awesome. You can reveal this card to discard 1 card from your hand. So if you have the Extravagance and then you draw a Pot of Avarice as well, and you obviously can't use the Avarice, you can use the discard of the Avarice from this effect to basically pitch that and save this again for next turn. instead of having to discard it. But usually if you don't have something you want to discard, you're going to use the Child Slime itself, discard it, and then you get to special summon a incantation effect monster from the deck to the field, and then you just pop the incantations effect. So either Candle or the Talisman is usually want to go with turn 1. If it's going like a second turn play, you can do the Pencil Plume to get you a monster back, like Brionic or something, and then just, again, start the combo going. And then it has the onboard effect of the monster destruction, but you don't pretty much ever summon this card, at least that I've experienced. Not in this build. It's all about the summoning effect. You have 1 Cyber Angel Benton. This one is when it is used for ritual material, you get to add 1 light fairy monster from your deck to hand. Like I said, you're going to add the Vanity's Ruler. Really cool artwork. I always thought this was a pretty trippy secret. Ritual monsters have always been some of my favorites. 1800 attack. Again, you're never going to do anything with this when it comes to summoning. It's basically just what you'll add off of maybe the Arclight usually, and then you'll use it with the cycle to get out the Brionic, and then add the Ruler to hand. And then one of the newest additions to this one, the Saravis. You can also pretty much see this in hand turn 1, even though it's 1 with your searchability. It is level 7, so you can search it with the Preparation of Rites, which is amazing. 2600 attack, so again, you're not really going to summon this guy, but his in-hand effect is basically you can discard him to negate the activation. Oh, sorry. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a monster you control, so basically the Vanity's Ruler, because the Nekroz and Trishula can only protect Nekroz monsters, he can protect the Vanity's Ruler there. And then you discard him to prevent that. And then he also has the onboard effect where you can return him from the field to the hand to negate the summon or summons of monsters from the field, and then banish the monster. And then that is it for the rituals. Go into the spell cards. I was running, I think, 1 Kaleidoscope in the last build, 2 Mirror. Again, that Kaleidoscope is pretty much the most important one to start off to get the Unicorn going, using the Arclight, and then Arclight searching as well. So this is the one you really want to see. Pretty much Unicorn is going to be your first summon unless you have incantations that hit the board there. Or again, maybe they have the Manju depending on what's going on. This one is the ritual summon using any number of Nekroz ritual monsters, tribute 1 monster from your hand or field, and then you use extra deck monsters. So you can use something that has, either the Elder Entity, the Arclight is what you're going to go with because it is also level 4. So you just go based off of the levels depending on which monster you're bringing out. Almost always you're going to start with the Unicorn, and then you're going to use the other rituals for the other ones. Cycles pretty much, I think, one of the best going second turns. Same thing with the Mirror, because you can also banish from the graveyard. And then they also have the effect of when you have no monsters on the fields, you can banish this card 1 Nekroz monster to add 1, Nekroz ritual spell to your hand. And then you got Cycle. This one is awesome. I love the artwork on Cycle too. The Secret looks so much better than the Rare. I'm so glad they made this one a holo. This one is used to ritual summon any Nekroz ritual monster. You can tribute monsters from your hand or field, or then you special summon the Nekroz ritual monster from your graveyard. Or your hand or graveyard, but most of the time you're going to go with graveyard, at least to start the combo. You're going to pitch the Ben 10 with the Cycle, and then you're going to special summon the Brionic. Ben 10 then will then trigger and then search the Vanity's Ruler, and then you tribute the 2 incantations. Sometimes you'll have 3 or 4 on the board, and then or sometimes, like I said, you might even need to use the Brionic to get that out, but tribute what you need. That'll basically finish up the combo there, and then anything else that you get after that is pretty much extra. And then the same thing where you can banish this plus the Nekroz monster to add the Nekroz ritual spell from your deck to your hand. 1 Nekroz Mirror. This one's the one that you can banish. Same thing, discard either the ones from the hand or the field, and then or you can banish the Nekroz monster or monsters from your graveyard to special summon a Nekroz monster from your hand. Very good, but again, not necessary to see first turn. And then when it comes to some of your searchability, 3 Preparations of Rites. I usually recommend, unless you need to use it right away to get your combo going, I always recommend pretty much saving it till after you use your first Kaleidoscope, so that way you can get the Kaleidoscope back in hand. Or if you can wait, the best part to do would be to wait so that you can actually get the Cycle in hand, and then you can search like maybe a Saravis or something like that at that point. If you've been able to hold it there, then you definitely have the option to get more resources apparently. This one's awesome. Search one level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and then you can add one ritual spell from your graveyard to your hand. So it's a 2-piece. 3 extravagance, because it is not the biggest deal to banish your monsters. You never summon any of them, pretty much, besides the Link monster, which is every once in a while when you go second. The Link monster is very difficult for a lot of decks to get over. It sometimes catches people off guard when they see it. A lot of times there's not much they can do. And it is pretty powerful if you use 3 rituals to get it out. It's pretty much unstoppable at that point. You got 3 extravagance, obviously what it does, banish up to 3 to 6 monsters from your extra deck to draw 2 cards, and then you cannot draw again that turn, and it has to be the first card that is activated. A lot of people I've seen make that mistake where they play a card and then they try to activate the extravagance. You cannot. It has to be the first card that you attempt to activate. I had obviously no Avarice in the previous build because this card was still on the ban list at that point, and then it even went up to 1, and then now it's 3 again. 2 Avarice, 3 is just too much. I was trying it with 1, one wasn't enough. I was really liking to see the 2. It's definitely a card you can use first turn, even if you don't get the extravagance. You're gonna flood your graveyard in the first turn with monsters. So I pretty much just go through, you know, a third to almost half your deck within the first turn. You get all the search power that you need, and that one's obviously, you know, self-explanatory. 1 reinforcement of the army. You can get the Colossalus to hand with this one here. It's your pretty much main goal. And then last for the main deck. Again, this deck definitely does not like hand traps. Pretty much just want to get as much as you possibly can on board there to stack your field there, and then to obviously make sure that you can protect the Vanity's Ruler. Pretty much Call by the Grave. Obviously everybody knows what this does. 3 of these is necessary, I believe, at least in a deck that you're trying to go first in. And for the extra, I think I was only running maybe like 1 or 2 of these in the last one. I don't remember, but 3 is definitely awesome. This is the card I was mentioning here. It's Link 3, starts at 2400 attack, and then it goes based off of pretty much how many ritual monsters that you use to link it. So you have to at least use 2 ritual monsters, so you can get the double effect of this card cannot be destroyed by battle, and then you also get the effect for the second one, cannot be destroyed by card effects and gains 1200 attack, so it goes to 36, and then cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. And then the third effect, if you use a 3rd ritual instead of using like a Manju or the Ruler or something like that, neither player can target this card with card effects, and it gains another 12. So it goes to 48, can't be targeted, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Pretty much have to have freaking, maybe you want to get maybe a Drowning Mirror Force or something like that. But yeah, it's not going to be easy to get this thing off board, and they usually go to the next game after that point. Awesome card. 48 too. That's a beefy boy right there. Or if Nefis, maybe Nefis is a female. I'm not sure. We got the Elder Entity Intis. This is the one that's when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to target a card on the field and destroy it. It is awesome. So again, this is good for going second. You're not going to use it going first unless you don't have any other level 4s that you've banished them from the extravagance, but you're almost never not going to have an Arclight from the extravagance. I mean, it's only happened to me very rarely throughout like hundreds of matches playing the Nekroz deck, but this card is awesome going second to pop cards off the board. And then the most important card in the extra deck. This card has definitely been seeing a lot of attention lately, especially with the fact that they've been figuring out how to get it summoned with, I'm pretty sure it's the Nekroz that is up to the shenanigans of getting the Arclight on board. You're not going to use that, the effect of the onboard anyway. You're using its grave effect, so for pretty much when you use the Kaleidoscope, you're going to want to pitch the Arclight. When the Arclight is sent to the graveyard, you can search for either 1 ritual spell or ritual monster from your deck to your hand there, and you're, again, depending on if you're going in order or if you already have it or not, you're usually going to be going for the Cyber Angel Ben 10 by that point, or the Nekroz Cycle if you don't already have either of those 2. And then that's pretty much, like I said, to complete the combo, and then anything else you get after that is just extra or protection. 1 Vulcan, these are all pretty much just like Kaleidoscope targets. And then the Omega, Trish for Trish, Titan there, for the 11, or no, I think there's the 10, and then I don't have an 11, I took out the Star Eater, and then we have this one as well there. So you can still use the capability of getting multiple rituals out at the same time with the Kaleidoscope too, with the big number, higher number levels. But that would be it. I appreciate your guys' time again. Please let me know what you guys think. Give me your likes, comments, subscribes, dislikes. If you do dislike, please just let me know why. If you have any tips or anything like that, or see anything that maybe you think I should tweak or try or add, please go ahead and feel free to let me know. It is a 40 card deck. I usually try to keep it that tight there, but again, I appreciate everyone's time and appreciate all the love I've been getting on some of the previous profiles that I posted as well. Again, sorry for slacking. I definitely need to keep posting. I have so many decks, it's ridiculous. I've just been extremely busy lately. I appreciate again your guys' time. Have a good night.